Okay, so we've been practicing finding slope from a graph, and so then we're going to talk about how we find slope given 2 points. There's definitely another way to do it, but this is something using the slope formula. So the slope formula is always given to you on the star chart when it comes to the EOC test. And I'm going to show you how we can find the slope and the y-intercept, but on the assignment, we're just going to focus on finding the slope using the slope formula. So I'm not going to do it for every single example. So the slope formula. The slope formula is y sub 2 minus y sub 1, so the second y value minus the first y value, over the second x value minus the first x value, okay? So I'm just going to delve right into it. Number 1. So what it really helps if you label. So what I mean by that is this first coordinate here, this is x sub 1 because it's the first x. And then this is y sub 1 because this is the first y. And the second coordinate, this is going to be x sub 2 because it's the second x value, where 9 is going to be the second y value, so y sub 2. So in our slope formula, we're going to do y sub 2 minus y sub 1. So y sub 2 in this case is 9, minus y sub 1, which is 3. That goes in my numerator. And then the denominator, we're going to put x sub 2, which is 7, minus x sub 1, which is 1. And then it just simplifies. So 9 minus 3 on the numerator is 6, and 7 minus 1 on the denominator is also 6. And 6 divided by 6, or 6 over 6, simplifies to positive 1. So my slope is positive 1. Now, if we wanted to take it a step further and find the y-intercept using that, you have to remember this slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope. So now that we know the slope is 1, and what we're going to do is choose one of the coordinates, like let's say we choose 1, 3. I'm going to substitute the x with 1, and then the y we're going to substitute with 3. So if you notice, what we're looking for is the y-intercept. So we're going to solve for b here. So 1 times 1 is 1. So 1 plus b. And then to solve for b, we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So the value of the y-intercept is 2. So now we have our slope, now we have our y-intercept. So if I put the two together, the slope is 1x, and then the y-intercept is plus 2. And there's my entire equation. Now, I would do that for all the examples, but just for the purpose of today, we're just going to find the slope only. So let's just delve right in. Number 2, it's important that we label. So negative 5 is x sub 1 because it's the first x value. 0 is y sub 1 because it's the first y value. Negative 4 is x sub 2 because it's the second x value. And 4 is y sub 2 because it's the second y value. And now we're just going to plug it into our slope formula. So y sub 2, which is 4, minus y sub 1, which is 0, and then x sub 2, which is negative 4, minus x sub 1, which is negative 5. So watch your math here, the more negatives that are involved. So 4 minus 0 is 4 in my numerator. Watch right here. Negative 4 minus negative 5 turns into addition, so negative 4 plus 5 is positive 1. And 4 over 1 simplifies to 4. So my slope is 4. Number 3. Same idea, let's label. 5 is x sub 1, negative 1 is y sub 1, 0 is x sub 2, and 3 is y sub 2. So my slope formula, y sub 2 is 3, minus my y sub 1, which is negative 1. And then x sub 2 is 0, minus x sub 1, which is 5. And then we're going to simplify. So 3 minus negative 1 is adding 1, so 3 plus 1 is 4. Over 0 minus 5 is negative 5. And so 4 over negative 5 simplifies to negative 4/5 if we're getting technical. And that's my slope. Number 4 is a special one, so let's talk about it. So notice I stopped giving you the layout here, so it's just the same layout up here. So let's label. 6 is x sub 1. 2 is y sub 1 because they're the first ones. 6 over here is x sub 2, and negative 5 is y sub 2. So following our formula, y sub 2 is negative 5 minus y sub 1, which is 2, over x sub 2, which is 6, minus x sub 1, which is 6 also. So negative 5 minus 2 is negative 7, and 6 minus 6, that's not deceiving your eyes there. 6 minus 6 is 0. And negative 7 divided by 0, if you look at it, it's not possible. You can't divide by 0. So we've talked about this a little bit when we first introduced slope. When we divide by 0 and we get an error in this calculator because you can't divide by 0, this slope is undefined. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Number 5. So x sub 1 is 12, y sub 1 is 5, y sub 1 is 9, and 8 is, oh, I did that backwards, sorry. 9 is x sub 2 and 8 is y sub 2. Okay, so then we talk about the slope formula. Y sub 2 is 8 minus y sub 1, which is 5, over x sub 2, which is 9, minus x sub 1, which is 12. 8 minus 5 is 3. 9 minus 12 is negative 3. And 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. Number 6, same idea. Let's label. Negative 2 is x sub 1. Negative 1 is y sub 1. Negative 4 is x sub 2. And negative 3 is y sub 2. So slope formula, y sub 2, which is negative 3, minus y sub 1, which is negative 1. And then x sub 2 is negative 4 minus x sub 1, which is negative 2. So watch your signs there especially. So negative 3 minus negative 1 turns into addition. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Negative 4 minus negative 2 turns into addition. And negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. So negative 2 divided by negative 2 simplifies to positive 1. Let's look at number 7. So let's label. 2 is x sub 1. Negative 5 is y sub 1. 7 is x sub 2. And negative 5 is y sub 2. So following my slope formula, negative 5 minus negative 5 over 7 minus 2. If I look at it, negative 5 minus negative 5 turns into addition. So negative 5 plus 5 is 0. And 7 minus 2 is 5. Now this time, 0 divided by 5 is actually 0. So my slope for this one is 0. Versus the other one, when I tried to divide by 0, that's not possible. So those are your two special cases. Number 8, let's label. 3 is x sub 1, sounds like I'm saying eggs, and negative 5 is y sub 1. 0 here is x sub 2, and 0 here is y sub 2. So if I follow my slope formula, y sub 2 is 0 minus y sub 1, which is negative 5. X sub 2 is 0 minus x sub 1, which is just 3, minus 3. So 0 minus negative 5 turns into addition, so 0 plus 5 is 0. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. When I simplify that, 5 over negative 3 simplifies to negative 5/3. Number 9, negative 4 is x sub 1, 3 is y sub 1, negative 5 is x sub 2, and negative 2 is y sub 2. Okay, so then my slope formula, y sub 2 is negative 2 minus y sub 1, which is 3. And x sub 2 is negative 5 minus x sub 1, which is negative 4. Negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. And negative 5 minus negative 4 turns into addition. So negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. Negative 5 divided by negative 1 simplifies to positive 5. There you go.